right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get started. I assume that people will join as we go along. So, welcome and thank you guys for joining me on Monday. Makes me happy. So today, like I mentioned, we're going to talk about SWOT analysis as well as SMART goals, but we're going to do it a little bit different today. I want to do it with a different twist. So I know that everybody thinks about SWOT analysis as it relates to writing a business plan, but what I don't think that everybody understands is that as a business owner, you should be doing SWOT analysis every day, all day, every time you have to make a decision. And so I wanted to approach it from that perspective, because last week when we talked about business management, there was a piece there where I talked about understanding SWOT analysis. And what I'm learning, so I'm taking a class now to do some business mentorship, which is a lot different from coaching and consulting. Mentorship is a lot different. But one of the things that I'm realizing is that a lot of the components that are in your business plan, first of all, most Black business owners don't even have a business plan, whether it's a 2-pager, a summary, or any of that. They have it in their head, which is not a good thing if you are trying to get investments. Or so if you want people to invest in your business, or if you want to eventually go to the bank and ask for financing so that you can operate your business on other people's money, which is what you should do, you should be using your money as a leverage point. So whatever money you have in your business account, number one, you shouldn't be spending your revenue. You should be leveraging your profit, and you should be using that to sit in the bank to show lenders or investors that you have aging money. I think I've mentioned that before on this call. So aging money really is the fact that you're saying that I make profit in my business, it goes into my operations account, and I don't have to spend it because it is profit, right? So if you have an operational budget, you spend the operational budget, but whatever you make over the operational budget is considered your profit. If you have to consistently spend your profit and you can't let your profit sit or age, it's very difficult to get investors, or it's very difficult to get banks to finance you. So my point for going over the SWOT and SMART goals was to really start talking to business owners about the importance of, you have to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats, and your trends throughout your navigation and management of your business. This is not a term that is just for your business plan. It is literally a term that, as the leader of your organization, you should be assessing every problem and every solution that you have to navigate through by looking at these things. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, and trends are what we're going to talk about today. So, and you guys have to forgive me. I had a rough day, so I'm gonna be hiding just like y'all today. Normally, I know I normally will show my face, but I am so sleepy, y'all. Really, I am today. I'm gonna have to edit that out of the call. Anyway, so knowing a SWOT or having a SWOT is super important to the management of your business, because SWOT analysis really is about analyzing your situation, putting some components together so you can think about the solution. The most important thing, and I know that I say this all the time in every call because it is so relevant to Black business, SWOT analysis help you arrive at process. Right? Process is so important in business, especially when you're talking about leveling up, going to the next level, because you'll find that when you start partnering with corporations or larger entities, the first thing they're going to ask you about is your process. So they're going to ask you questions like, so what will you do if this happens? And they don't expect you to just give them an answer right then and there. They expect you to produce a packet of papers that clearly outline situation, task, outcome. Next thing is also SWOT analysis really help you understand your objectives. And if you are getting your business to a point where your goal is to be a team, SWOT analysis really help you with teamwork, because what happens is you can sit with your team and together, you don't have to be the only person that outlines what your strengths or weaknesses or opportunities, threats, and trends are. A lot of times your team can do that for you. They may see some things that you don't see. So by you sitting down with them and really talking through, even just having a weekly discussion about reporting or about, what's going on in our business, what's going on with our clients, like what does it look like? And just getting that feedback from your team is amazing. Also, understanding your SWOT really can help you with your vision, because you have to think about this. If you identify your weaknesses and the threats, it gives you an opportunity to strengthen your vision, right? So if you know what may negatively impact you, you can prepare for it. And so that way you can strengthen your vision, but you can also strengthen your impact. And then also SWOT analysis, more than people really truly understand, it helps you with your marketing and sales. Because if you truly understand what you're strong in, and we'll talk more about that, if you know what you're strong in, if you know what you're weak in, if you know where some potential opportunities are going to present themselves for you, if you know what the threats are to your business, and if you know where the market is trending, you have the ability to get ahead of it. And if you can get ahead of it, then you can set sales goals or forecast sales goals that make logical sense. Not just pulling numbers, just pulling them out of the air, but really putting together a forecast that is realistic, which is also why we're going to talk about SMART goals. So you guys already know what SWOT stands for. Most of you have probably heard SWOT analysis as it relates to with one T, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But there is a second T if you extend out your SWOT analysis, and that's trends. And in today's society, understanding trends is so important. And the reason why I wanted to talk about that today is because the best place for you to understand trends right now is social media, right? So Pop talks about that all the time. He's always talking about looking at your social media, understanding your insights, understanding who you're reaching, who's responding to you, who's engaging. That's part of trending. There's also other parts to it, but I can tell you that your social media gives you a wealth of information that you can literally use in your business to forecast sales, or that you can use to identify what's really selling. What are people really talking to me about when I'm on social media pushing my product or my intellectual property, right? So really understanding what is trending. Also, social media has hashtags, right? You can always do research, and literally you can Google search trending hashtags. You can Google search trending hashtags as it relates to your market, as it relates to your product. And you can literally forecast sales based on that trend. So what are people talking about? So, just really crazy right now. Like if you're one of those people that you resell Birkin bags, or you sell knockoffs, or if you sell purses, there's a whole conversation going on about Birkin bags right now. So it's a time, that's a trend happening based on what's happening currently in media with celebrities. You can always tie what you sell to that particular conversation, and that could help you with trending. So I know you guys know a lot about that, but I want to make sure that you guys also understand that if you are well versed in social media and social media trends, you should be doing sales forecasting. And I'm not talking about just sales and marketing. I'm literally talking about sales forecasting, which is totally different. So, when I say forecasting, I don't mean that tomorrow you're hoping you make 1,000. I'm saying that when you go back and you look at your history last year, this time on this date, how much did you sell? and what was trending at that time that caused you to sell that amount. What was going on? So if you've been in business for more than a year, so if you've been in business for a year plus, you already have some data that you should be looking at. Now, what I will share with you is the problem with most African American business owners is we don't track our data. We don't track our sales. Like we may send an invoice out. We may know that we got paid, but we don't do any type of reporting that really tells us how we're trending as a business. So if you are not doing that, you should. The easiest way to do that is to just you can have a very simple personal calendar. And on that personal calendar, you could literally write how many widgets you sold and how much money you made that day. If you utilize PayPal, immediately, PayPal has a reporting system, especially if you use PayPal for business. You can literally go in PayPal. Now, here's the thing. If you use your PayPal for business only, it makes it easy. If you are still mixing your funds and you paying your friends some peer-to-peer stuff through your PayPal, right? You sit like you're making payment to get your hair done through your PayPal, right? Then you may not have the right reporting that you need. So my challenge to you would be, if you utilize PayPal Business, only operate your business out of that. If you need to do personal things, choose to do it through, do a personal Cash App, or do another PayPal, but do it under your personal email and connect it to your personal banking account. But if you're going to use PayPal for business purposes, make sure you're only making business purchases or billing or invoicing through that, because when you utilize their reporting system, it is very helpful. Not only can you find out what you did a year ago based on the month, but you can find if you're trending. It will tell you exactly, like, how much did you make this time last year? How much did you make this time last year for the quarter, right? So PayPal Business has a lot of reporting that you can gather from that. And if you're not taking the time to look at that, you should. So if you have a PayPal Business account, I'd love for you to go take a look at it, look at the reporting and find out, what did you make last year in November? Find out how much you sold. And then I want you to go look at the individual days. And I want you to think about, okay, what was I doing last year in November? What was happening? Like, why did I sell this much, or why didn't I sell much, right? And just understanding that, because that really gives you a better insight of what's happening with your business. So why am I telling you that? Because all of the things that we do as business owners and as managers of our business, we have to start realistically reporting. As a business owner, you should be pulling some kind of report every day, even if it's just you, right? So if today you need to pull a report so that you can see, okay, what did I sell yesterday? How many items did I sell? How much money did I make? And then as the owner, you need to really assess, okay, well, why did I sell this little? Or why did I sell this much? What did I do to make this happen? Was I more engaged with my social media? Did I send out more invoices? Did I talk to more people today? Did I network, right? So what did you do that got you in the space? And you literally should be checking those kind of reports every day. Even if it's just you. I don't care what you sell. I don't care if you do consulting. I don't care if you take photos. I don't care if you sell t-shirts. I don't care what you do. Every single day, you should make it a habit. First thing in the morning, assess your business. Where are you financially? What do you need to sell? At the end of the day, assess what you did for the day, because often what happens is we get so caught up in the inertia of our day that we are not focused on sales. And keep in mind, I'm not saying that means you have to push sales down people's throat. I'm not saying pick up the phone and constantly be calling people and trying to sell stuff to them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what activities did you participate in that led to sales? So for me, my activities that lead to sales are talking to people. Like if when I give away information, whether I'm on my social media writing something, whether I'm blogging, or whether somebody hits me on my inbox and I call them for a discovery call, every time that I talk to people or connect with people, at some point it's a sale generally transpires. Now, what I have to understand is that means I got to talk to people every day. And I'm not going to lie to y'all. Some days I don't be feeling like it. Like some days I'd be like, man, I don't want to fool with nobody today. I just want to sit down and write my content, do what I do. But I also understand that physically talking to people is literally my bread and butter. And that's because I'm a trainer. So let's talk. I kind of feel like I beat that in the head, but let's move on and talk a little bit more about strengths and why it's so important for you to think through this every day. So if I had to give you guys an example, and if I had to say, okay, tomorrow I want everybody to wake up, and the very first thing I want you to do when you're thinking about your business is I want you to think about today. If I wanted to maximize my sales, if I wanted to maximize whatever it is that you do, if you want to maximize, like pick a goal and say, okay, well, today I want to bring more customers in, or today I want to sell more stuff, or what, even if it's not about sales, let's say you say to yourself, today I want to meet 3 people that can be decision makers, right? So let's just say you're doing funneling, right? And your goal is, you know what? I'm going to go out and do some research, and I'm going to find 3 companies that I could position my business to, right? That could be a goal for a day. I want you, when you make that decision, I want you to start thinking about, okay, what is my strength, right? So what is it about me or my product that makes me and my product superior over the competitors, right? So at this point, you're going to invite your ego in a little bit, and you're going to be like, okay, well, because I do this or I do that, whatever those adjectives are that you have about you that make you better, right? But I also want you to think about not just what you think, but what do your customers think? So when you engage with your customers and you ask them, about their service with you or your product, what kind of things do they tell you is a strength about your service or your product? Like, what are the things that they say often? So, I'll use Rashida as my example, right? So every time I engage with her, she has this amazing way of even if I don't know what my vision is, she can clearly put that vision together in a video for me, right? So for me, what makes her superior to others is that she makes me comfortable enough to sit with her and talk about my vision. And then for whatever reason, she sees it clearly and she's able to put that on film in a way that makes me happy with the product. So I think the best way I could say is that she's superior in the way that she makes her subject feel good about themselves. And not everybody does that. Some people will come to the video shoot and they just shoot what they see. They put it together and it looks good, but they didn't necessarily make the subject feel good about themselves. And she has the ability to do that. So that's a strength, right? I would put that in a check mark of one of Rashida's strengths, that she can make the subject feel good about themselves. And that can definitely make her different from a competitor. What's another strength? So thinking about what's the longevity of the product that you offer. So I'm going to use Pop as the example for this. In the things that Pop does, when he puts things on social media, or if he puts it on a flyer, if he puts it on the website, like people are getting evergreen distribution from him, right? Because if he puts it on his social media, it's always there. People are going to always see it. Unless it's on a story, right? But if it's on his actual page, people are going to always see it. If he puts it on his website, people are going to always see it. If he does a podcast or if he does a video, that is something that if he's working with someone, anybody can always go out and see that particular item, which means that compared to the competition, his product has a longer shelf life. It's much more durable than the other person that may be talking to people about intellectual property, but they're not creating the digital content and actually putting it anywhere. So there's that superiority from that perspective. So I gave those two examples. So Pop, let me know if that example makes sense to you. Do you agree that makes your product better?
Yeah, the longevity and the fact that you never know who's gonna be able to see you. So it's the same for people that have. It don't really matter the amount of followers. It's just like you never know who people know. So that it closes off the degrees of separation.
All right, thank you. And then so Rashida, for you, hopefully that helped you when I talked about strengths, because like I said, there's a lot of people that do video, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they put the subject in the right frame of mind. So as you are going about what you do, I want to make sure that you are always letting people know that that is one of the superior parts of your product, is your ability to truly see the big picture and the vision of the subject, and then also putting the subject at ease and knowing that they can accomplish their goal. So also a strength could be your staff. So I'm really going to focus on this one for a minute, and I'm going to tell you guys why. There is so many times where we hire people that are so much greater than we are. Like, I say that because I know that I'm a visionary, and I know that I have the ability to write, and I know I have the ability to share knowledge. But I will also say that I'm getting really good at putting my team together and listening to my team. When my team tells me, hey, I like this idea, but it might look better if you do it this way. The other day, Jeremy and I had a discussion, and he made a suggestion. I was like, you know what? He's right. So let me try doing it that way. So really, and I know that team and staff might be different to people. Staff is really people who you employ, or maybe they're volunteers or whatever. I like to look at staff as your community, period. Who is your community? Who is participating in your product, right? Who's participating in your service? To me, staff or community is my mentors, right? The people that help. I don't like, I got a PR person that she's part of my community. Today I was on the phone with her for 2 hours trying to get my whole press release life together. But she knows more than I know in that arena. And I am so okay with saying, you know what, this is what I want. But based on your experience, I'm going to go with what you believe we should do. How do you think I should drip this? What do you think this should be worded like? Right? So really letting go and understanding that there is strength in your team. You don't know everything. People have expertise that you don't have, and you have to be okay with, if your gut tells you you chose the right person to help you facilitate that thing in your business, let them lead. Right? Nobody's saying you have to do things you don't want to do, but I am definitely saying that when you bring people onto your team, you have to be able to let go of that control, and you have to be able to let them lead in their excellence, because part of your strength as a leader has to also be to know when to follow. The next strength that you can have, if you guys don't get anything else from this call, I've told you guys this before, but this is so important. I don't care what you do. You need to write down a list of people you want to work with, right? Write down a list of people that you believe could benefit from your product or service. So Jeremy, for you, if you are out here in the social media streets like that, you should already have a list of people that you see potential in, that you believe, they could really grow with intellectual property if they did more of this, and this. And then of course, picking up the phone, calling them, or, hitting them up on social media, or even sending them an email. But every entrepreneur should have a list of customers that they desire to do some work with, even if it's a corporate account, right? That's super important, because you'll find that there's actually a trend in those that you pursue, right? So I can liken this to any relationship that happens in your life. Just like some people have a preference in who they date, business owners have a legit preference in the customers that they pursue. You have an ideal customer. Who is that ideal customer? Write them down, right? So for me, it looks like know the avatar of your ideal customer, and then go and pursue those. Start with a list of 10. Approach them. Start a conversation with them. And if they say no, not a problem. There's always a way for you to finesse that. Say, you know what? I sought you out very specifically because I thought that what I had would work for you, and this is how I could help you or how I can benefit you. I understand that this might not work for you right now, but do you know anyone that might be interested in what I have to offer? And then just ask them. Ask them for 2 people. Hey, do you know anybody? And sometimes people will volunteer that, but you do have to put together a customer list, and very specifically, it needs to be your desired customer list, not just what you're getting, but legitimately, like, what do you desire? Like, who do you want to work with? And then why do you want to work with them? And then actively pursue that. So next would be product innovation. That can be another strength. I like to tell people that whatever it is that you are selling, you have to look at things like, look at Microsoft, look at Apple, right? These companies, Microsoft already has all of the upgrades ever. They're just rolling them out slowly. So the question to you is, based on the products that you have, how can you build on them and grow it? Like, what does your product look like remixed times 10? And if it's remixed times 10, how do you slowly drip that out every year and keep the building of the expectation? So it's kind of like the Lego house. You know what I mean? Like, what does the upgrade look like next year? Next year, is it going to be, red windows? Right? How do you innovate your product to a point where you keep interest in it, but you keep giving it value year over year? And that's a plan. Like, you can literally build that out. You can build out, okay, this is the basic of what I'm doing right now, but I built this whole vision of it that is so grand that I realize that if I roll it out in phases, it has just as much value, but I can keep people in my ecosystem for a set amount of time, and then I can continue to grow with them. So Pop's always talking about intellectual property, and I want you guys to think about this. As you are building your intellectual property, really, you don't have to give everybody the best of you today. You can give them good you and then build on better you. There's a whole saying. Hold on. It is good, better, best. And that's the strategy, right? So the strategy is drop something that's good. The next step is to make it better. And then the next step is for it to be the best. And that could be a series of how you sell it. That nobody knows that you're only giving them the good unless you tell them. When you roll out the next iteration of it, it's innovation. And that's what you tell them. I've improved this product. I've improved this service. Here's this product / service remix 2.0. Right? And then also another strength that you can have, I don't know how you guys are doing. So I'm gonna pause and ask this question because we don't have a lot of people on the call today. So that's actually kind of a good thing in a way. But if you have at least worked on one process, and I know I go over that all the time. I know I'm jumping on y'all about that all the time, but I only mention it all the time because of how important it is. But if you have written down at least one of your most important processes, drop a note in the chat and let me know. If you can't type because you're busy, just put a Y for yes and an N for no. I'm not even going to make you tell me why you haven't. I just want you to share with me if you've done at least one process for your business. Terrence, you know when nobody answers, I'll pick on you. That happens. I'm just saying. We you know the drill. All right, so Brianna said yes. Okay, so whether you guys know this or not, having processes in place is a strength every day, all day. And the reason why I want to tell you that is I can't even tell you how many people I've sat down recently on a panel for. I had to, I was part of accepting people into a very specific business incubator. And at the end of that incubator, those people were going to get a set amount of money, but it was a private invitation. So you had to be invited by the bank. What people did not know was that if you were invited and if you, they had certain questions they asked you, and the questions were all surrounding process. They were asking things like, if a disaster hits the city, what's your current process for keeping your business online? If you have a brick and mortar location and your location gets shut down, how would you move that offline to still service your customers? They asked about technical support. So if basically that's your customer service. So if you have an unhappy client or customer, how do you solve that? Like, what's the process? And what they, and most of us would just say something like, well, I'll call them and I'll fix it. That's not an answer. That's not a process. The process is we contact our customer within 24 to 48 hours of the complaint. We call them to find out, for them to tell us the complaint. We do some research on an investigation on how we arrived at this. And then we like, you guys get what I'm saying? Like, I'm giving you the breakdown, but that's a process. An actual process is something that is valuable to investors, and it's also it's valuable to partnerships. Because like I said, when you start taking your business to the next level and you start just even something as simple as Walgreens, right? I have a colleague that her candles are in a certain Walgreens in Houston. But in order for her to finish that contract, they asked her about her processes. They were like, okay, what if we sell out quicker than what we normally do? What is your process to get candles to us? In the contract, it literally says that if Walgreens sells out, she has a responsibility to deliver a certain amount of candles to them within a 24 to 48 hour period. That's a process. So I'm saying that to say that if you haven't put your processes, again and again, I'm just on that soapbox, right? If you understand that having processes in place for your business literally sets you ahead of the competition, because I can guarantee you that a lot of your counterparts, especially if they're small businesses, they don't have any processes in place. And that is hindering them from building the kind of strategic partnerships that they need. It is literally minimizing their money. And so the last part for me to push home on that is this. I want you to go and take a look at any $1 million company. And I want you to ask yourself, is there a $1 million company out there that doesn't have processes? Is there a $1 million company out there that cannot tell you how they are funneling? They know their product cycle, they know their customer cycle, they are aware of their processes. And here's why. When your process breaks down, you start losing money. Period. And if you don't even know your process, you don't know where you are in the process, and you don't know how long you got stuck in step number 2, you may have absolutely no idea how much money you're losing. So my example, I had something that needed to be produced for me. I was supposed to have it a month ago. I don't have it. I literally had to contact that person and say, hey, like, I just realized that I've been giving you a lot of space on this because I know you need to be creative, but here's my situation. The fact that I didn't roll this out when I was supposed to, this is actually how much money you cost me every day. I need this week. But I had to literally look at those numbers for myself. And I had to say, well, dang, Tiffany, what were your forecasted sales? You couldn't sell this because this person didn't give you this thing that you needed. And it's been 30 days. So based on my forecasted sales, I didn't move forward in that process with that product because my process broke down. And so just sharing with you that that's a strength. So I know I know y'all are tired of hearing about that, but I want y'all to know that I am equally as tired of y'all not telling me that y'all got your processes together. So I'm gonna keep saying that because I have the opportunity to sit with people who make decisions on funding, who make decisions on putting people in programs and giving them loans or investments. And I can tell you that there are 3 reasons why people don't get funded or don't make it into programs. The number 1 reason is because the people don't know their numbers. They just don't. They don't know how much they're making. They don't know how much they can make. They have no idea about profit margin. They don't know any of their numbers. And then the next thing is they don't have any processes in place. And then the third thing that I would say, honestly, is that even if it wasn't about the money or about the processes, people don't really understand their market, right? So they don't really know their target audience. They think everyone is their audience, and it's not. So again, if you want to know what stops people from getting funded, what stops people from having investments, what stops people just generally, number 1, they don't know their financial numbers. Number 2, they don't have any processes in place. And number 3, another huge component is that they don't know their target audience. They don't really know who they're talking to. They don't know who they're pitching to. A lot of times people are selling to the wrong folks. And so then the last strength I have for you guys is going to be management. Your management really needs to be committed and confident. One of the things that I had to learn is that currency in sales is really about your confidence. And as long as you are confident in your product and confident in your service and confident in your knowledge, that comes across when you talk to people. And that helps you push your business forward. So those are all strengths. All right. So before I move on to the weaknesses, I want to make sure that I'm pushing forward for you guys that this isn't just about knowing your strengths. It's about understanding in every situation that you're in as you go about your day. When you have to make a decision, ask yourself, what are my strengths? What is my leverage here? As I'm in this situation, what are my pluses in this situation? What am I good at? What am I strong at? What is my greatest potential? What is my biggest leverage point? Those are your strengths. And you need to think about that in every decision that you're making. So if you have to go network with somebody, what are your strengths? Play to them. If you have to go meet with somebody and you're signing a contract, what are your strengths? Play to them. So weaknesses are also important. The reason why it's important is because if you know what you're not strong at, it gives you an opportunity to go find something to supplement that for you, right? So as humans, like we'll take a vitamin. So if you know that you have low iron, a lot of people will take an iron pill. If you know you have a vitamin D deficiency, you might take a vitamin D pill, or you may eat foods that have vitamin D in them, right? Weaknesses in your business are the same. It's not okay for you to wake up every day and know you have this specific weakness in your business. If you know you have it, you have to figure out how to fix it. That's like a daily thing. So if you know structure is not your strong point, every single day that you get up, you should be on the lookout. Like you should be peeping for somebody that can help you bring structure to your organization. If your issue is your confidence and you don't sell well, maybe you need to go find a salesperson that believes in you, and that's what they do, and they can sell for you. Let's say your issue is your weakness is time. Maybe you're not good at time management. You need to find tools that will help you with managing your time, whether it's utilizing your calendar, whether it is setting alarms, whether it is having an accountability partner that says to you, hey, don't you got something to do with da-da-da-da-da, right? Whatever your weaknesses are, it's not good enough for you to identify them. you have to actively be working on what do I need to do to overcome these. Now, you're always going to have some kind of, like, for instance, some people are just tardy people. There's nothing they're going to do to change that. What they need is a whole personal assistant to take their phone out their hand, shut their computer down, and say, hey, it's time for you to go get in this car right now because you need to leave and go to this meeting. But even that in itself is a solution, right? So you have to work towards solving the weaknesses that you have, or you have to at least work towards having someone in on your, acquiring an asset that can help you with overcoming that weakness. So, one of the things that, like, the biggest thing that I could tell you about African Black businesses is most of us don't have salespeople. So most of us are doing everything. Like I said, we talked about that. We're wearing 17 hats, right? So if sales is not your thing, then you do need to consider hiring salespeople, because salespeople, especially if you pay them commission, the whole point is for them to sell as much as possible because they make more money the more they sell. The biggest issue that we have as Black businesses is we think we don't have enough money to pay a salesperson. Truthfully, if you have to look at it this perspective, you don't have enough money to not pay a salesperson, because a good salesperson should bring in 65% revenue. And you should be splitting that 65% of the revenue that they bring in with them by a commission, commission based. What does that look like? Right? So if you, and just think about the numbers. So if you have a product and that product is $1,000, and let's say that you chose to pay your salesperson 15% commission. I suck at math. I'm gonna go with 10%. All right. So 10% would be $100, right? So that means that if that salesperson sold 10 of those items, then they would make $1,000 themselves. My thing is, for salespeople, you want to you want to incentivize it. You want to make it so that their goal is to sell and sell with integrity, so that both of you make money, your business and the salesperson. I know that limited budgets are always a weakness for Black businesses, but what we also have to start learning is, if we understand that our budget is a weakness, what can you do to change that budget? Like, what do you have at your disposal, right? Are you able to barter something that is your talent? Are you able to borrow money from friends, but then you have a set repayment for them, right? So maybe you make a decision to say, you know what, I need a $50,000 budget no, I'm gonna make it less than that. Let's just say you need $10,000, and let's just say you have 20 friends that would be willing to give you $500. I really hope that math makes sense. But if you were able to get 20 friends to give you $500, and if you wrote a plan for, I'll pay this $500 back by 3 years, and this is the interest that you will get back on your $500 after the 3 years. And the promissory note literally says you're not going to make any payment for the first 36 months. But on the 36th month, not only will you pay them their $500 back, but you're also going to pay them their $500 with interest. Okay, now you have just infused some money in your business. But the thing is that you don't want to take 3 years to make that $10,000 back. You want to make that $10,000 as quickly as possible and pay people back faster than the 3 years, because generally what happens is, when they see that you have the ability to turn the money around that way, they usually will reinvest, or you can talk to them about reinvesting. But I want to make sure I'm saying that, because I know that our weakness is always limited budgets. But the thing is, we've talked a lot about building teams. You have to surround yourself with people who care about your vision. You have to surround yourself with people who want to see you grow. And then you have to ask yourself, what can I leverage? And so again, your weaknesses, if you truly understand your strengths, your weaknesses you can leverage your strengths to help you with your weaknesses. The other thing about weaknesses is, if you have a service, you really need to roll your service out and be trying and testing it. Like, do a beta version, right? Even if you had to get a friend and say, hey, I'm gonna coach you for 6 months, and I'm gonna treat you like a real client, like you are really my client, and I'm gonna do this for you for free, but I need you to give me the results, and I need you to take it seriously because you're gonna be my case study, right? We have to start learning how to do pilots and trials of whatever it is that we're doing, because the feedback that you get, remember, we've talked a lot about being results based, being evidence driven. There's a lot of opportunity in our space. Here's my thing. Some of y'all are already giving your stuff away. You're already helping everybody you know. Why not help them and move them through a process and write the process down? Like, it can't get any better if you're doing it with a friend. Can't be any better if you're doing it with a family member, but you have to make sure you treat them like a customer. And then you ask them along the way, hey, how did this phase go for you? What did you think about it? What was beneficial about it? What do you think I need to tweak? But you have to take that kind of stuff seriously. You have to really take it seriously. Like, if this person doesn't make it to your call, if you have you're doing a 50-minute call with them and you're giving it to them for free, you're giving them your expertise, and they don't call in on time, great. Guess what you have a chance to do? Write yourself a process. What do you do if your clients don't sign into the call on time? Do you wait? The call's at 11, they sign in at 11:15. Do you still give them from 11:15 to 12:15? Or is that 15 minutes they lost out, right? That's part of a process. That's part of you understanding what you need to do. So do pilots, do trials, complete them. Get the data that you need to make your product or your service better. Because when you do that, you eliminate some of the weak points of the product or the service. And then next, most businesses don't have a detailed marketing plan. Most people are literally getting up and doing social media by the seat of their pants every day. And honestly, like that, it's good when you have a personal brand where that's all you do is connect with people and you sell that way because maybe you're a motivational speaker or something like that. But if you have a business where you have products, like you have a book or you have curriculum or you have a service that you sell, you have to sit down and write your detailed marketing plan. How are you going to market it? What that means is that you shouldn't be going every day making a decision on what you're going to talk about in your business. You really should sit down once a month and write out for a whole month or write out for an entire quarter. And here's why. When you do that, there's consistency. There's a constancy in what you do. And then people can follow you better, right? People can follow who you are as a business because they see the constant, they see the flow. And then reputation in your marketplace can also be a weakness, right? You guys have seen it. There have been some people out there that, they're going through a lot right now in social media. I know Jay Morrison's been going through some things in social media. I think the guy from from Jumpin' Jack Tax, his wife has been going through some things. I'm saying that to say that can be a weakness. At some point, if your business is going through something because you've had, your reputation has been challenged, or maybe, people bought something from you, but they didn't actually get their product. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen, but that can be a weakness. And then again, how do you handle that? So who can tell me, if you have a reputation issue in the marketplace, where would you put how to handle that? Where would that go? Drop a note in the chat for me. Hint, hint, I talk about it all the time. I done talked about it about 50 times today in the last hour. Operations, that's good, but very specifically, what is it called? Begins with a P, ends with an S. Exact. Thank you, Brianna. Thank you, Shalandra. Process, right? So if and why does that matter? It matters because we live in a social media age. You could wake up tomorrow and somebody could be making a decision to tear your brand down. The question is, how do you react? What do you do? If your decision is what happens in the moment, you're gonna mess it up. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna mess it up. If you have a process for how to handle that, then you're gonna go look at your process and you're gonna follow it, right? I tell people when you get to a certain point in your business, it is okay for you to have a PR person on speed dial. It is okay for you to say, look, my reputation right now on social media is getting trashed. This is what happened. How can you spin this for me? What steps should I take? So understanding that you always have options, and it's always about how do you want to invest in yourself and what decision do you want to make. Think about it like this. When you see things that are happening out here in society, or in, with politicians, with business owners, with celebrities, they're not handling that by themselves. They're not. You may not see their publicist, but their publicist is back there quietly telling them how to spin that. If y'all think Jay Morrison ain't got a publicist, he got one. I'm positive he got to have one, right? So my thing is, if your business took a downturn for whatever the reason may be, how would you spin it? And what you want to do is at least write down what you think you should do. And then I also say, run it by a publicist. Even if you just had to spend $150 to talk to a publicist for an hour to get their opinion on what you should do, it's worth it. Because again, you never know what could happen, but it's also social media, right? So remember, we talked at length about risk management. So if we talk about risk management, remember I told you guys that worst case scenario, at least write the processes for the risks that your business might be facing. Right? So reputation is definitely one of those. And it's one of the things that you guys have to really look at, because we are doing so much stuff publicly and on social media now, that it's almost like it's not a when something might happen. I mean, not a if something's going to happen. It's kind of more like a when something's going to happen. And you really want to make sure you're prepared for it. All right, so let's go to opportunities. Well, let me pause because I did strengths and weaknesses. Does anybody have any questions about strengths or weaknesses, or anything that they're not sure about as it relates to the strengths or the weaknesses of themselves as a leader or their organization? If it's something I can help you with, now's the time for you to ask me about strengths or weaknesses so that I can help coach you or navigate you through that process, and why it matters that you know those things in every decision that you are making for your business. Anybody? Going once? Going twice? All right, silence is golden. I'm gonna go with you guys are good. Okay, so opportunities. When you're making decisions for your business, you always want to be thinking ahead. Like, you always want to be thinking, if I do this, how will it create a future opportunity? So really understanding the long game. So I'm going to pause there and just ask you, how many of you have a long game right now? Like, when I say long game, I mean that you understand that what you're doing now is this piece, but your expectation is for it to lead you to something greater. If you know what the greater is, like, you don't have to tell me what it is, but if you know what the greater is in your business, what your long game is, you've identified it, drop your favorite color in the chat. Your favorite color in the chat if you know what your long game is. I'm answering myself, y'all, just because I need to participate and I need to stay awake. Favorite color in the chat if you know your long game. So far, me and you, Rashida, we the only people that know our long game. That's all right. I'm okay with that. If you don't know your long game, just put IDK. Like, I don't know. Put that in there. I just at least want to know. And the reason why I'm asking this is because I feel like I can help you guys better if I know like where you are as opposed to where you really need to be. But it also helps me with figuring out what information to teach. So Brianna said you feel like it shifts for you. Okay. Brianna, if you don't mind, I'd like you to tell me, is the long game shifting, or is how you feel about the long game shifting? Because those are two totally different things. Like, if the promised land is always the same, but how you're going to get there is changing, that's a little different. And I'll give you an example, Brianna, of why I say that. I know 100% where I want Velvet Rope Experience LLC to go. But in order for me to arrive there, I had to incorporate VRE training solutions. I had to do some things differently. The promised land for me is still the same. It hasn't changed. Like, the long game is the same. What has changed is how I am going to actualize it. And that's okay, because that will happen. Like, if you at your mission, so here, I'll give you the mission. The mission could be, let me see, long game. You mean the term of why my big, yeah, what? So when I say long game, not just what you're offering, but ultimately the impact you want your business to have on your life, right? So your long game could be, you want to be a millionaire, and you want to be a millionaire because you want to sell a million widgets, right? Or maybe you want to be a millionaire, but your process in what you do is maybe like, Pop, you want to help, your community with microfinancing, right? That is his long game, but the how you do it might change. Okay, so no, that doesn't change. Okay, great. All right. So when you say I feel like it shifts, so it sounds to me like what you're saying is that how you're gonna get there might be changing. So my offer and way of going about the change. Yes, okay. Right. Perfect. That's kind of what I thought, but it took a little for us to get. I want to make sure that everybody understands your how you get to it can change as much as it needs to. It can. Like, I don't care if you know you want to live in Washington, D.C., how you get to Washington. Do you know how many different ways you could drive to Washington, D.C.? Yes, there are short ways. Yes, there's long ways. You could fly there. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, you could even catch a boat. You mean you got to go around some stuff. But the point that I'm making is, if your destination, if you know where it is, that's fine. What you want to understand is how you're going to get there. It may change. It may not always be up to you. And you need to also be open to how you're going to get there, right? Because that's what opportunities is about. Opportunities is about being open. You have to be open to see that it is a possible road for you to travel. Right? So and I tell people, if your goal is to be a millionaire, you could be a millionaire all kinds of ways. You don't have to choose to be an entrepreneur to be a millionaire. Really. You can invest a whole lot of money in lotto tickets. At some point, the odds are you might win. Right? You don't have to be a business owner. You can invest your money in stocks or in other things and become a millionaire. You don't even have to be a business owner to invest in other people's businesses. It's a business in itself. But the point that I'm making is, if your goal is to be financially well off, you don't have to be an entrepreneur for that. Most entrepreneurs are doing what they do because they have some kind of passion about what it is that they are choosing to do. And what that passion looks like monetarily may be different from person to person. But the other part about it is how you're going to arrive there may be very different. You might think right now you're going to get there based on social media, and you never know. You might meet one person on social media, and that person will say to you, "Nah, you know what we gonna do is we gonna do this contract, and on this contract, I got 10 of us, and we gonna form a coalition. And in this coalition, each one of us is gonna get $500,000 a year to make our programs pop." The point that I'm making is that you have to always be open to the opportunity. Don't be so closed about your path to get there that you don't see opportunities along the way. So, why am I telling you that? Opportunities exist in these spaces, right? You could develop a new product. You could develop something that is adjacent to what you do. So I tell people, think about it like this. So Rashida, you do video. Like, you literally could sell video equipment. You could go out and have an Amazon account where you literally make suggestions, and you talk about the equipment that you've purchased, that you've used, that you've engaged with, and you have an Amazon affiliate account, and that's what you sell. So every time you talk to people and they ask you shit like, what camera should I buy? Well, you tell them, oh, you should buy this camera. Go on my Amazon page and pick it up. And now you're getting paid. That's an opportunity, right? Same thing with Pop. Like, Pop is always suggesting books. I don't know why Unity is Wealth doesn't have an Amazon page. Or if we do, I need you to drop that in the link. Like, you need to drop that in the chat. But I'm saying that because, Pop, when you suggest books, there's an opportunity for people to go to Unity as Wealth's page and purchase those books, and Unity as Wealth to make money that can go back into the community, right? Whatever, it could be Pop's top 10 books for businesses, right? But I'm saying that to you guys to understand that you could always develop a new product. You can also sell something that is adjacent to what it is that you currently offer. So I'll give you an example. My girlfriend, you guys have talked to her. Her name is Renata, and Renata has the CBD, and it's called the CBD effect. And I had a whole talk with her about, yes, you sell these CBD products, but let's talk a little bit more about what's adjacent to that. What else could you do? Right? Yes, you can wholesale. You can become a wholesaler for people. Yes, you can, people may want you when you go to Vegas to get certain things, that you bring that back, and then they pay you to do that, right? People may want you to consult them. Like, what are all the things that are adjacent to that particular product that you could use and take advantage of? So I want you guys to start thinking about that. Whatever it is you do, whatever it is that you sell, if you have a service, you must have a product. If you have a product, you must have a service. You really have to think about that. Oh, Brianna said, I just set my affiliate account today. Yes, that is awesome. I'm super excited about that. I want you to know why I'm excited. There's so many of us that miss out on that opportunity. So I had an affiliate account, and I didn't use it. So they rescinded it, and I just recently sent my information over the last couple of days to get them to open it back up to me. So open it back up for me. So also, that's another thing. If you guys choose to do Amazon and do an affiliate account, also take a look at Walmart, because my understanding is, I'm trying to get the lady to come on and talk with us about that, but my understanding is that Walmart has a lot less restrictions, and you can do the same thing that you do on Amazon. You can sell books and stuff like that. Why am I telling you that? You have to make sure that your account stays active. So you have to make sure that you are referring people there to purchase things. That's super important. And especially if you have a large following of people, I look at it like this. If you, like, I tell people every day, different book. People be like, oh, Tiffany, how you know this? How you know that? And I'll tell them. And then I was like, why I keep referring people to Amazon to buy books, and I'm not referring them to my page to buy the book, and I can get at least a couple of dollars. You know what I'm saying? And then if you have an Amazon account and you sell things that way, ask yourself, what will I allot that money for? Right? You might say, everything I make on Amazon, I'm going to take all that money and pay down debt. Remember, so I don't know how many of you were on the last couple calls, but I said every one of your dollars needs to have a job. So if you make the decision to do an account like that, where you're not really expecting that money, you're not paying anything with it, pay down some debt. Maybe you use that money as your mad money to take the kids to go do things, right? And that would encourage you even more. If you know that all the money you make off of Amazon is what you're going to do for your kids for vacation, you're going to hustle. You're going to grind that out because you want to be able to take your kids wherever they want to go. And you know that you're using that financing for that. So anyway, like I could go on a whole nother tangent with that, but I just want to make sure that you guys understand that that's super important. And it really is. And thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I had to pause. My mom is so amazing. My mother bought me dinner because I've been working all day long and I have not eaten literally all day. So she bought me a salad so that I didn't forget to eat. Anywho, just making sure that you guys are looking for the opportunities to have new products, have things that are adjacent, and always look for a way for you to increase the money that you're making, because it doesn't always have to be a direct sale. Affiliate is definitely an option, and not just through Amazon. Think about it from a perspective of what apps do you guys suggest all the time, right? Like I tell people about 17 Hats all the time. 17 Hats has an affiliate program. I can send people that link to that, and if somebody purchases it, then I can make a couple of dollars from that. So I want you to think about the things that you use, that you believe in, that when somebody asks you and you refer them to that, how can you make money off of that? There's nothing wrong with that. And I would say if you have a referral pile or an affiliate pile, give that money a job, right? So what are you going to use that for? You might say that if everything I make from this, I'm going to use it to buy me a new camera. I'm going to use Rashida as my example. Let's say there's this fancy whatever, $2,000, $3,000 camera that you may want to get. And then the question is, okay, how do I push this? Because I know that when I push this item right here, this is my money that I'm going to use to get this item that I said I was going to get. So that also can be a way to encourage you. The other thing about opportunities is, think about this. How many of you have ever gone somewhere and you have shopped and you've purchased a product and you've said to yourself, like, this product sucks. The packaging is horrible. The story is horrible. It didn't last that long. And then the question is, is it something you could sell, right? I look at people's training all the time, y'all, and I'd be disgusted. I'd be like, these people didn't even really help anybody. They didn't really give people, they literally, I watch people give people, like, I watch people sell training that is stuff that you could find on Google. Like, you could Google this, right? You could find that. They're not giving any life experience. They're not giving, any industry expert information. They literally are just giving the bare minimum. Drives me crazy. But why am I saying that? Because if you make it a habit to shop your competition, see what they're doing, and understand where their areas of opportunity are, that's it, right? If you know what their weaknesses are, then you know what you could improve on to make your product more superior. Another opportunity is profit margin. So I'm just going to ask you guys, if you don't mind sharing, drop in the chat. What is the cost of your highest selling product that you sell often? Not the one you want to sell, but the highest selling product that you have that you sell often. Even if it's a service, that's fine. So if the service is $150 an hour, whatever, what is the thing that you sell the most of, and what's the cost of it? And I'm going to pause here for a second and wait for you guys to answer that question, because it's very important, because I have something to add to it. I dropped mine in there. There's a reason why I'm putting this there. So you guys play along with me. I promise you, you'll learn something from it. So Rashida, what is the thing that you sell? Even if you did, if you do videos, that's great. How much are you charging an hour? Skinny Street, I haven't heard from you. How much are you charge? Okay. Skinny Street, I haven't heard from you today. How much are you? What are you selling? And how much is it? I see Samuel Nash is on. What are you selling? And how much is it? So Rashida, you know I like to dig deep. If it's $250 a day of shooting, that's great. How many hours is that though? So can I get you for 24 hours for $250 a day? The only reason why I'm asking that is because that's like $10. That's like skinny street putting the baby to sleep. Okay, no problem. I'm just picking on people because I wanted people to participate so I don't fall asleep while I'm training y'all. So Rashida, how many hours is that? Average 8 hours. Okay, great, great, great. Anybody else? All right. So the reason why I asked that question is because when you start thinking about how much you charge, my question for most Black businesses are you building in profit? Because most of us are not. So if you think about it from a perspective of like, well, most of us will think, okay, so, and Rashida, just because you put it out there, $100 an hour photo shoot. Okay, great. Okay, and then all right, and so video two. Okay, there you go. All right, so let's look at it from this perspective. If you think about it from, I'm gonna do. Hold on one second. All right. So I like to think about it from this perspective, right? If I went out and I totaled all of my bills and all of my expenses, and I'm talking about my bills like for my house, but I'm also talking about like my bills for my business, right? So I'm including the gas, I'm including the batteries I have to buy, I'm including occasional maintenance, whatever that is, right? And if I said that to take care of my household, I need to bring in $5,000. That's not profit. Like there's no profit built into that, right? So I get the reason why I'm saying that, and this is not a good thing or a bad thing. This is a learning experience, right? Because it's a learning experience for me too. So remember when I mentioned to you guys, I gave you guys like a formula, right? A couple weeks, and I said I wanted to go over it again because it's really important. You have to think about whatever it is that you do, it has a price on it, right? So let's say your price is, I'm going to use my example. If my price is $150 an hour, then you should consider how much does it cost for me to recreate that hour? Well, that's another $150. So that's 300. And then if I built profit into that, right? Where I didn't have to eat into my hour and I didn't have to eat into the recreation. Like this is like a double up thought process, right? So, and then my profit margin. So that would put me at 450, right? And then you have a markup. And the markup is between 30 to 50%, or you look at whatever the markup is for your industry, right? Every industry has a markup percentage, every industry, right? And I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it this way. That's literally why other cultures, businesses are making money hand over foot or fist because they charge ridiculous prices. Like we think it's ridiculous, but the people in their culture, they don't think it's ridiculous because they're used to the game running that way, right? So I'll give you an example. I love the fact that somebody said that it is $100 an hour for a photo shoot, right? I know somebody that literally, I'm not even playing with you. She charges $800 an hour and she makes it with no problem. She legitimately has a list. She got a waiting list of people and she charges $800 an hour. She does certain portraits that she does just to get the photo itself and for her to frame it. That's like $2,500. And she literally has people waiting to work with her because her work is that good. Now, on the other side of it, it is also because she understood that she's building in her profit margin. She's also building in exclusivity, and she is also building in, she is grooming her people to pay her what she wants to make. Period. She doesn't want to have a lot of volume. She really wants a little amount of people to pay her a maximum amount of money. And so the reason why I'm saying that is because that's one of the areas of opportunity that Black businesses have. Our area of opportunity is our profit margins. Our profit margins are not as good as other cultures because we don't price ourselves right. And then by the time we realize that we need to price ourselves better, we're bitter. I'm gonna go with that. Better, we should price better. And by the time we are pricing better, we are bitter. And so I share that with you because I want to make sure that you guys understand now that you got to charge more than what you're charging. Because this isn't, unless your goal is to work with a certain price point. So if you're branding your business and you're saying, I do video or photos at an affordable price point, that's great. If that's how you rock it, there's nothing wrong with that. But I also want to make sure that you understand that affordable price point automatically dictates that you have to do volume. I'm going to stop there and ask anybody if you have questions, because that is so important. It is important for you to understand that there is nothing wrong with you being affordable. I'm not judging that, but I am making sure you understand that affordable means that you have to mass produce. It means that you have got to figure out how to increase your volume because it's affordable for the customer, but it's not affordable for you, right? Walmart can sell 99-cent widgets because they buy 1,000,000 99-cent widgets. The price for that widget might be 4 cents for them, which makes it totally different. So I just want to see, do you guys have any questions? How many of you really feel like you pricing yourself? No, let's do this. We're going to go with the other thing. If you think that you need to shift your pricing, but you just haven't been able to do it yet, drop your favorite animal in the chat. What's your favorite animal if you think you need to fix your pricing? Yes, I'm working on that. Time is valuable. Okay. Great, great, great. Favorite animal. I had to fix my pricing. So January of 2021, my price is $585 an hour. I want y'all to know I'm so happy about that. Just like I feel so free knowing that my price is $585 an hour. And I'm so okay with that. Do I understand that a lot of the people that I know can't afford me? Yes. Yes, I know it. And I had to get to the point. I mean, realistically, I don't care. Like, I can refer you to somebody that costs less than me, but I can also refer you to somebody that has less degrees than I do. I can refer you to somebody that got less time in this game than I do. I can refer you to somebody not going to give you as much information as I'm going to give you. So I'm so okay with that. My mentor said that I had to stop watching other people's pockets. Tiffany, why are you worried? Because I had a price and I was like, but the people I love not going to be able to afford it. And she was like, so maybe that's not the people you should be selling to. Maybe that's the people you should be funneling through your nonprofit, right? So I'm saying that again to make sure. He said gorilla. That's a good one. The reason why I'm saying that is because even if you are on this call and you don't want to admit it, if you are underpricing yourself, if you find yourself going on jobs and doing things and getting frustrated because you got to do too much work and you don't feel like you made enough money, that's nobody's fault but your own. Okay? Charge what you are worth. And even if you don't think you're worth it, charge it anyway. Level up your value. If you put a ridiculous price tag on your stuff, so let's say Rashida, you decided you was gonna go to $450 for a day of shooting. Give them $450 worth of value, but don't settle for anything less. Right? So I'm not gonna beat that up, but I really hope that you guys can find that in your spirit to price yourself appropriately. And I say that because so many Black businesses fail because their pricing is wrong and because they don't have profit built in, and they are busting their butts being really good business owners, right? Being really good and having great value. But the problem is because as a business owner right now, you might be broke. So you're operating in the spirit of, I ain't got that much. I couldn't afford to pay nobody that. So what? So what? Doesn't matter. Because if you really wanted to afford it, you would. Like I tell y'all, like I paid someone $7,000. I was so upset because I was like, after the fact, I was like, I could have did that myself, which I really could have. But the reason why I spent the $7,000 because, to be perfectly honest with you, I could have done it, but I wasn't doing it. So you have to think about it from that perspective, right? Yes, higher clientele for brand and business and a nonprofit for lower income people. Yes. And then also understand, if you decide to do a nonprofit and you want to roll people through that, you ain't got to take everybody. Make people do an application for your nonprofit, because you don't want to just be giving your stuff away. Create an application. Have people go through an application process to work with you. Filter them, because you only want to give your information to those that you have identified are going to move forward with what you give them. There is absolutely nothing worse than wasting your time on people that don't do anything with the information you give them. I need y'all to understand that pisses me off. Like it does. I'm gonna be real with y'all. That's the reason why when I get on the call and I talk to y'all about processes, and when nobody says that they've done it, I get so upset. I get frustrated because I know that these are the things that are stopping us from growing as Black business owners. Like, in my mind, I wish I could let y'all be the flies on the wall when I'm in a room at Capital One, or when I'm in a room at Frost Bank, or my most recent meeting was with Icon Bank. Like, I'm sitting there with them and they're telling me why Black folks ain't getting loans. But then I talk to people and I say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. And they'll be like, okay, I'm gonna do it, but they don't get it done. And then when I ask, like, why you don't have any processing in place, they'll be like, well, I don't know where to start. Yeah, you do. It's very simple. Go Google it. Google it. Google a process and just shift the wording on it. There's an actual a site, and I have to find that for you guys. There's a site where you could build your own processes, and you can actually build a manual. I went on there to test it out. They charge $14.98 a month. And they have 14 days for free. So you can build things and then get it for free. But anywho, I'm sorry, because I felt like I did that again. I did it again. I couldn't help it. That was just my personality. That was my spirit was like, you need to tell them again, Tiffany. Anywho, so profit margins are certainly important. It's a huge part of opportunity. What I want to make sure that you have to understand is, when you build your pricing structure, you literally have to understand your cost of the good, and you have to understand your profit. Right? You can't just say, I'm charging $250 a day, but you don't know how much it costs for you to navigate through that day. Right? Are you feeding yourself in that day? Do you have to travel? Do you have to put gas in your car to get to the spot? Do you got to buy batteries for your camera? Do you have to buy a flat? Like, what do you have to do to get through that day? And what do you need to add to make sure that there is profit in that day, right? Because we're not supposed to be getting paid just for our labor. Black people are so labor intensive that it's crazy. We have to learn how to switch that. We have to learn how to pay ourselves enough to have a team. Think about it like this. If you charge $500 a day for shooting, guess what? Now you got enough money to pay an assistant $100 a day, and you still clearing $400 a day. That's the mentality we have to have when we talk about opportunity. All right, so also, the other thing about opportunity is when you had it, if you charge $500 a day and you got a person there that you paying $100 a day to that might not have normally made that $100 a day, guess what? That person is going to respect you enough to give you some ideas, especially when you're building a team. When you ask that person, hey, what do you think we could do better? What do you think we could do to give more value? And then if that person gives you a great idea and you start charging more as a result of that, man, give them a cut of that. It was their idea, right? So these are all opportunities. Also, I really want to share with you guys, you have got to start thinking about travel. You have to start thinking about travel. You just have to. There are so many opportunities in other countries, whether you are an art, like you could be a rapper, you could be a photographer, you could be whatever it is, like whatever. There's opportunities overseas for you, right? There are people in the United States that can't get any respect for their art because of the way the music system is set up. But they can go overseas to China and other places. Like, man, I'm telling you, y'all have to understand what I'm telling you. They get mad respect in other countries and make mad money in other countries because other countries are respecting the culture. They're respecting the hip hop culture a whole lot more than what's happening here. Especially culturally, right? So I'm saying that to say you have to be prepared to travel and go overseas, especially if you're a business owner. You may be making a widget here that can be marketed and branded over there. Also, you have to understand if you're a problem solver, what do you solve? How do you solve it? And where else could you push it? So I'm going to go ahead and speak this into existence. My nonprofit has the opportunity to go to Ghana in January. I'm trying to take my whole freaking team with me. I got a board. I'm trying to take my whole board with me to Ghana. I'm trying to document that experience, right? But why am I doing that? Because Ghana has that like exponentially their woman entrepreneurship area, or the market for woman entrepreneurship is growing, right? And so, and very specifically with women who are widowed, super area for growth, right? When I talk about my training business, Dubai is doing some crazy stuff over there right now as it relates to safety and compliance and customer service. How do I know that? I went and I did market research. I bought market reports. So if you really want to understand opportunity, you got to really know your business. You got to go do research on it. You got to invest in getting some numbers, right? So that you can figure out where to expand, find out where the pockets are, where's the money, where are people spending money on what you have to give? Where do people appreciate the value of what you have to offer? And then you need to go there and go sell it. It's that easy. If you can get on a plane and go to Las Vegas to hang out with some friends for the weekend and do some drinking, you can certainly save some money to go overseas, have, a guide or a translator, go in a group. Like there, what I'm telling you is that I named my nonprofit Experience Entrepreneurship Globally for a reason, because I wanted to manifest global travel. If your business, if you want to travel, if you want to go overseas, if you want to do different things, do that now. Find the right partners so that you can start traveling like that, because there is so much available to you outside of your your county, your city, your state, right? You can really I mean, Pop has been traveling lots of places, but I want to encourage you guys to know that you could take your show on the road. If you have a product, turn it to, if you have a product, create a service. Take the service on the road, right? You can literally partner with people through social media, go to their city, go speak, go train, go whatever, right? And then also thinking about opportunities for how can you reduce your cost. That's super important. So some of us right now, we're using suppliers because this is who we've always used, and that's great. But don't get so comfortable with your supplier that you don't go and take a look at, what does that look like? And why am I saying that? I have a lot of business owners that have told me that that they realized during the pandemic that some of their suppliers weren't solid. Because when the pandemic hit, like they suppliers was ghosts. They couldn't make anything happen. Can I tell y'all why? Their supplier didn't have process in place. I'm gonna be real with you. There's no other reason why you shut down. You only shut down because you couldn't pivot, because you didn't have process in place. You didn't know where you were pivoting to. Right? Or they had a leader that wasn't quick on their feet. Either way, they didn't pivot. Either way, they didn't have process in place. So those are opportunities. Looks like I'm probably only going to get to just the SWOT part today, y'all. I apologize. I probably just stayed on too many things too long, but I wanted to make sure that I gave you everything you needed. All right. So before I go to the next one, which is threats, and then we'll wrap it up with trends. Let me know, because y'all know I need to know, how's this going for you? Are you learning anything? Tell me what is the number one thing that you have learned so far about strengths, weaknesses, or opportunities? The one thing that stuck with you that when you walk away from today's call, you'd be like, yes, that helped me. One thing. If you can't type, that's cool. Turn your mic on. Share with me. Talk to me. Every dollar has a job. Detailed and formal processes. Yes. Samuel, you can turn your mic on and talk. We can't hear you though. All right, Megan, you're being super quiet. I know you've been on the call because I saw you. I did. I seen you. Talk to me. What did you learn? What about strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities do you think could help you with growing your business?
My major takeaway is definitely charging with your worth. I had to do this last week, and I officially was solid on my official pricing for my lashes and stuff. And for these past 2 years, I've been giving discounts, charging way lower than what I should be charging. And so like my one client, she came, and she's actually one of my good friends, but she was like, "Oh girl, you went up on me." And I was like, "No, actually I didn't." This is how much it is. And actually, I gave her $10 off. I still gave her the friend discount, but I lost out a lot on not charging what I was worth, because basically I was just making money to just keep me afloat and not really making a profit to really, I don't know, you used some word earlier.
No, I totally get it. So let me tell you this. When you give a discount, do you take those discounts off on your taxes?
Yeah.
You do?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is what I want you to think about. I just want you to think about, first of all, you're just an amazing person. So just being around your energy and having you touch people, they should be happy about that, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to consider, what does it cost? Like, you know, like, and I know you know these things, but this is just, I just want you to focus on when we talk about your value, right? How long does it take for you to do someone's lashes? So if it takes an hour, that's great. If you took the place where you go and you do those people's lashes, and let's say your rent, I'm gonna use something simple. Your rent's $100 a month, and you broke that up by every day by the 30 days, and then you broke that down by the hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm charging you a piece of my rent in me doing your lashes.
Right.
Right? I'm charging you the cost of the lashes. And then I'm charging you the cost of my labor. Now I'm going to double that. And I'm going to build a profit in. And then you have to say to yourself, this is quick, can people go somewhere else to get their lashes done cheaper? Hell yeah, they can. They can.
Mm-hmm.
But do you really want that person? Do you really want customers that they trying to nickel and dime you through their lashes? That's not really what you want. You really want a person that values the experience they get from you. You want a person that because I know when a person sits down and you give them and you do their lashes, girl, you do so much more than their lashes. You over there ministering to spirits.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? And I know that. So I met you, I've interacted with you, and I know that about you as a person. So what I'm saying to you is that they're not just getting the lashes, they're getting the experience of you. You also talk about other things. You also give people pointers. You understand? And you got the opportunity to upsell to them. So understanding that, it's okay for you to build in, and it's also okay for us to say, I'm the premium line of this thing that I do.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? That I mean, I'm not saying everybody know me. I can be bougie, but most of the time that's not me. But when it comes to my money, I'm learning that bougie is the place for me to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, people literally treat you like your pricing.
Yeah.
If I can't even really get anything across to y'all about that, I'm gonna be real with you. People treat you like your pricing. Lowball yourself and they gonna treat you like that. That's what it is. And so we just have to learn to do better for ourselves and know that we're worth it. And you, my queen, are definitely worth it. So thank you so much for sharing. All right, so I'm going to go to threats because I just realized I got 15 minutes left and I want to make sure I at least get through the SWOT part. Again, I know that this is a different take on the SWOT analysis for you guys. I do know that SWOT literally is something that most people think about it going in their business plan. But what I'm challenging you to do, again, is to consider SWOT all the time. Consider it every time you have to make a decision. I don't care if you have to change a price. I don't care if you are writing a proposal. I don't care if it doesn't matter to me what you're doing. I want you to consider the components of the SWOT analysis every single time. Okay. So Skinny Street says, just learn that. Yes. So make sure that everybody understands that. So in order for you to take a discount or a promotion, first of all, you have to label it as a promotional discount. And when you do discounts, you have to make sure that you send out an invoice that has the full price, and then you put the discount amount. Whatever your discounted amount is, as long as you did it in the format of a promo, you are able to take that to your accountant and you can take that off on your taxes. Now, here's the thing. It has to be labeled under your marketing expenses. So discounts have to be labeled under marketing expense to be qualified for a tax deduction. That's super important. You guys need to know that. But it also matters that you got to send a person a full bill. You got to send a full bill and you got to put the discount amount on it. Super important. Now, if you discount to me, there's only a certain amount that you can take off, right? If you discount everybody, yeah, I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna get to a point where your tax person gonna tell you, well, you can't take that off. Can't take that off, right? But what you want to do is remember again, we're talking about making sure you have good records, making sure that you're separating your personal finance from your business finance, making sure you're keeping track of all your expenses, and understanding that discounts or promotional discounts they fall under your marketing expenses. So keeping track of that is important. All right, so let's talk about threats really quickly. I want to make sure, so first of all, the important part, when I talked about opportunities, if you have never gone and done market industry research, you need to. It is so important that you know the numbers about your industry. So this real stuff, y'all, I paid $398 for a market industry report from 2000, and it was a report that gave me from 2015 to 2020 for education and training. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it didn't give me everything I needed. The report I need is like $3,700. I don't have that money yet. But what I've decided is myself and two other trainers, we do training in different areas. One does compliance and safety, and one does workforce development. We said that if we could get this contract that we're working on, the three of us are going to split the cost to get the report and share it. Why does that matter? If you're doing something in an industry and you know people that are doing it too, and they want to be great at it, split the cost. Go get the market industry report. Like, you got to know about your market. You cannot be great at what you do and price yourself appropriately and be competitive if you don't know what the market is doing. I don't want you to be sitting there and be like, well, so-and-so said such and such. So what? They could be lying to y'all. There's so many people lying on social media right now about what kind of dollars they make, and it don't even make sense. But if you go get an industry report, the industry report is as accurate as you can get, because we're talking about now corporations and small businesses and people who are reporting numbers, right? So when we start talking about people that got a loan from the SBA, when you get, SBA takes in a certain amount of information from people. That information talks about profit margin. It talks about expenses. It talks about client and customer base, right? These are legitimate numbers that we can start using to build our businesses on. So why am I saying that? Because in order to look out for the threats in your business, you have to really know your industry. You have to know your industry. And you can't know your industry just from the Google facts that you found. That's great. But my thing is, do you trust the sources that you got it from? Are you reading blogs? Are you just reading the Entrepreneur magazine? Are you just reading Forbes? Okay, all of that is great. But my question to you is, are you reading case studies that were done by Harvard Business School? Are you going out and looking at the reports that have been put together for the industry as a whole? Are you looking at what's trending up? Are you looking at what's falling? Right? It's so imperative that if you want to take your business to the next level, you have to know your industry. This isn't about just being good at your craft. This is about understanding how the industry is moving. And so that also means that you need to know legislation, right? Because understanding that part of threats are like, do you know how Trump being the president for the next 4 years is going to impact your business? If you know that, tell me yes or no in the chat. You ain't got to tell me how it's going to affect you, but if you understand that Trump being president and how it's going to impact your industry for your business, whether it's going to be positive or negative, if you're aware of that, drop a note in the chat, because there's a lot of people that don't know. There's a lot of people that have nonprofit organizations that have no idea that if Trump stays president, your organization, you're going to be out here hitting this ground, boots to the ground, knocking on doors to get bread. Because the economy is already bad. People are not giving like they used to, right? So really understanding what's going on with legislation, what's going on in the economy, how does that impact your industry? You need to know that as a business owner. You need to wake up every day and have something coming to your phone that is telling you specifically about your industry. Right? So Megan, for you need to be getting something to your phone every day about health, beauty, and whatever, wellness. Right? Rashida, you should be getting something to your phone every single day that is about digital content, videography, film, and whatever. Because if you're not doing that as a business owner, you're not staying on top of your market, and you're getting, people will pay you the top dollar, right, to know those things. So Skinny Street said, I trade Forex. So in that field, yes, but I'm learning to adapt. Yeah. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't, even if you flip houses, you should be, if a person flips houses, you need to be knowing what's going on in real estate every day. Because I can tell you, I know what's going on in training every day. I read at least 10, 15 articles on top of doing case study research, right? That's an everyday thing for me. I start my day out with that, right? And here's why. When you do that, number one, it gives you content. It gives you content to talk about. Now you're an expert. But the other thing is, it tells you how to move, right? So legislation is definitely an impact. Environmental effects favor large competitors. So understanding how what's happening in your environment could negatively impact your competitors. And if that's the case, if it negatively impacts your competitor, what could be your leverage? Like, how could you fill the void, right? So if the effect is negatively impacting them because they're large, what could you do as a small business owner to fill that gap and turn it to a positive? Also, if you have a seasonal market, like whatever it is you do, if something that you do is seasonal, you need to know that. There's no way you could tell me you're a videographer or a photographer or you do eyelashes or you do music, or you travel and you're a speaker. If you don't know when your lulls are, if you have no idea when business is slow, that's a problem, because every industry has a slow point. Every single solitary industry has a slow point. Like, honestly, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Y'all know that even morticians know that people die every day, but there's also a time when people die less. I don't know what that is, but I'm making a point to you guys. Every industry has highs and lows. You need to know what your highs and lows are in your industry. You also need to know things like, if you hire staff, there are times when people don't want to work. Like, really understanding that the shifts in the weather causes people to not come to work. Holiday seasons, people don't come to work, right? So you need to know those things and plan for it, right? Also, thinking about what could distract, what could be happening that can, because that could distract you from the core of your business, or distract your clients or even your employees from the core of your business, right? It could be a lot of things. Like, I'll give you guys an example. Just recently, one of my colleagues, she does challenges, that she's an event person, but her area of expertise, or her niche very specifically, is events that are started by a challenge. Somebody just recently started like this whole meme about challenges, right? And so it's like been a real downturn for challenges lately. She had to understand that that was a distraction to the core of what she did as an event planner, in the way that she did it, because her niche was challenges, right? And then the next thing, of course, is possible negative publicity. That's always a threat. We talked about that. And then also, are you vulnerable to attacks by major competitors, right? So whatever it is that you do, we all know it's a lot of haters in the world. If somebody gets a bug in their butt and they decide they want to come for you, how are you handling that? If they make a decision that they want to, say something negative about your business, how are you handling that? Are you prepared for that? All right, so I got 2 minutes. Last part is trends. So if you guys could just hold on, give me 3 minutes, and I can get through it. Trends is important when you're making everyday decisions, because you really want to think about right now. Right now, we're in the midst of COVID. So any trends that are happening right now, even so, you guys have to understand right now what's trending is numbers are going up. Numbers are going up because more people are leaving the house. Numbers are also going up because we're about to enter the flu and cold season. Numbers are also going up because there's some people out here lying, saying that people got COVID and they really don't, because they boosting their numbers to get more money to their hospital. It's all kinds of things happening. But the thing is, what does the trend look like, and how does that trend affect your business? You need to know that. How does COVID affect your business? How does post-COVID affect your business? How does this election and tomorrow being, voting day, right? How do these things affect your business? Also, the trend is knowing that technology is on the rise. I'm going to be real with you. Everybody on this call, y'all need to have some kind of app. You do. Even if it's a membership app, even if it's an app where you funnel information to your people and they get the benefit of exclusive information from you through your app, you should have an app. Because you're going to find that on the other side of things, people will use apps to access websites way more, and to access additional information way more than they ever have before. The other thing is, know that the interest rates are low right now. So that's another thing that's super important for you when you think about how you're running your business, right? So question, do you have payment plans for how people can pay you? And if you do, have you considered that some people may really want to buy something from you right now, but they don't have all the money? Give them a payment plan and charge them a small amount of interest, right? Also understanding that people are buying things, right? The interest rates are low. How could you do something that is adjacent to that trend? What do you have to offer, right? And I can come up with all kinds of things, but I think about it like this. So Rashida does videos. Might be way more people in the real estate industry that want to do videos because the interest rates are low. Maybe what you do is you partner with a person that does virtual reality. You shoot the video and they do 360-degree video of the houses. Like, I don't know. I'm just coming up with stuff right now. But what I'm saying is that because low interest rates is a trend, how would that affect you? How is that adjacent to who you are and what you do, and where can you get in or fit in to that? What could you offer to bring value given that the interest rates are low? And then also, y'all need to know, home foreclosures are on an all-time high. That's finna happen. Like, it's about to go down. So if it's finna go down, what do you offer? How can you help? Like, what can you do to provide a solution for people that are going to be in that situation? Right? I'm gonna tell y'all something simple. I told a homegirl the other day, she loves organizing. I said, a bunch of people about to lose their house. They about to have to downsize. They about to have to figure out how to take all this stuff out their 4-bedroom house and put it into a 2-bedroom apartment. Now it's time for you to ramp up your organization business, because that's what she does. She goes out and buys stuff and puts it, and I don't know, it's called, I don't know, it has a name. She calls it something. It's efficient space or something like that. My point is, that's trending. She gonna make some money. Last thing is gonna be recent graduates from high school, recent graduates from college. They're going to be faced with crazy debt. And the thing is that not necessarily having the jobs to be able to address that, right? So understanding that the trend right now is that people are going to have some financial strife. What do you offer, right? Do you offer hope? Do you have a solution? Do you offer a way for them to get out of their issue or their problem? I'm not saying take advantage of people, but I am saying that if you have a solution that you can price, that can give them value, that can help them get where they need to be, then you want to understand that part of COVID is a trend, right? And understanding that attached to COVID are some other things that are adjacent to it, and millionaires are being made in this time. So I do apologize. It's 10:03. Thank y'all for staying with me. I'm sorry I didn't get to the SMART goals, but I will get to them. I promise. I'll find another day to do it. I'd love for you to drop a note in the chat just to let me know if today helped you in any kind of way. If it helps you really understand how you could use SWOT analysis in your everyday decision making, because that was what was important to me.